Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game is Saturday night. Jordan Love and the Packers take on Caleb Williams and the Bears. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game.
That's going to be caught for the touchdown.
NFC North rivals square off in the latest chapter of the NFL's oldest feud. The Packers and Bears in Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game. Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on Prime. Sign up for a 30-day free trial today. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 1865 match report. We're recording the morning after Forest were dumped out of the third round of the FA Cup by Wrexham after a 3-3 draw followed by penalties, but that's not really the story of the game. I'm joined by Katie, who made the cold trip to North Wales last night. Katie, how was it for you?
It wasn't great. I loved the FA Cup because it's when we were the underdog. When we beat Arsenal, it's brilliant, but it's more nerve-wracking when you're the team that should be winning because you just know that all the stick you're gonna get. So yeah, I was quite excited because I've never been to Wrexham before, a new ground, but the performance wasn't worth the travel, so that was really disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games because of Wrexham being a big name for their Hollywood backing and all that. It was one of those where pretty much everyone outside of Nottingham probably wanted us to fail.
Yeah.
But so Dyche made a few changes, bringing in some of the fringe players, as it were, which is not really a surprise for the FA Cup third round. We had Sells in goal, Savona at right back, Jay Cunha and Morato, a Brazilian centre-half pairing, with Zinchenko at left back. Then McAtee, Douglas Luiz as the sort of the defensive midfielders. And then Hudson-Odoi and Backwork behind Igor Jesus. So when you heard the team news, how did you feel about
that? I thought it was very attacking. We weren't really sure what formation he was going to play because you've got 5 normal attackers. So we wasn't really sure who was going to be sitting with Douglas Luiz. But apart from that, it's mainly what I expected, to be fair.
Yeah.
Maybe I thought he would rest Jesus because he's been playing a lot recently. And he has seemed to like Taiwo, bringing him on in games. So I wasn't sure if maybe he would start at 1-knee, but he went with Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was in the pub when the team sheet came out, and I said to my friends, that's a very interesting selection. It is 0-3-6 or something. But to be honest, the first 10, 15 minutes was pretty dull, as I remember it. Not very much happened. Probably us with a little bit more possession than them. But then, how long was it? Probably 17, 18 minutes in. It was like a pretty high ball coming in, and it falls to Douglas Luiz. His arm is in the air. It looks like it hits his arm, but he controls it and then puts it in the net. How did it feel in the ground?
We were all really confused because originally the ref looked like he'd given it. The lino didn't flag. The ref pointed to the centre spot. So we were all celebrating. We all thought it was a goal. And then he just disallowed it, and we weren't sure if it was for offside or for handball. But it was just really confusing at the time. But looking back, it's clearly handball. Douglas Luiz has moved his arm to the ball, and when you're the goal scorer, no matter if it's intentional or accidental, which in this case I think it's intentional anyway, the goal can't stand.
No, well, it's one of those where, having watched it back again, probably if there was VAR, it would have taken 7 or 8 minutes, and then they might have just decided it's just above his shirt sleeve that it hits him. But without VAR, it was probably the right call, because if it had been given, it would have been purely on a technicality, I think.
Yeah,
But I
think
mean, it was nice for us to actually do something, because not much had happened until then. And it was like, yeah, we're the ones that are supposed to be taking the initiative here. But really, that was kind of it for us in the first half, because not long after that, they break and Murato sort of slips a little bit. The ball comes across, and I think it was Smith. He runs sort of across our defence and then just puts a shot in, and it was a decent shot, but there was at least 4 or 5 defenders between him and the ball, and for it to go in like that, it's not a great piece of defending there.
no, the defending. I think the first half, up until that point, we didn't look like scoring at all. We didn't create any chances. We were too slow. We weren't direct enough. We weren't finding spaces. But we also didn't really look like conceding. But unless it was from a mistake or something. But from that point, I think that gave Wrexham some confidence, which obviously it did, because then they went on to score 2 goals against us.
Yeah, I was brought. So firstly, it was Liberato Cacace, which is probably the best name I've heard this season, who scored, and it was part of the reason we were slow to react is, I just remembered, is that we were complaining about a potential foul on Jay Cunha, and this has happened a few times now where we seem to turn to the referee instead of playing to the whistle, which is really quite annoying. And of course, yeah, then like a couple of minutes later, they follow it up. Murato, the ball sort of bounces off Murato, and it's Rathbone who puts it in. I feel bad for Murato. He's obviously got a lot of talent, but he just makes the mistakes. It's like he loses concentration and just lets them through.
Yeah.
What was the feeling like after their second one went in?
Or it's because we conceded 2 in such a short space of time that you think, oh, 1, they've got a goal, but we're the Premier League side, we should come back. But when they get the second, that gives them more belief, but it also gives their fans more belief, and their fans, I thought they were really good all night. But yeah, it was just really disappointing, especially right before half time, where we dominated the whole first half. We didn't create anything, but you have to be patient sometimes as well. And also the manner we conceded the goals in, they were both really unpreventable. The first one, we're playing to the whistle, we're waiting for a foul, which is never a foul. Don't know why Amari was really soft in that situation. And then the second one, it's just poor again, so preventable.
And then, as you say, it was just before half time, but it could have been even worse in the first half, because I've really been looking forward to seeing Jay Cunha, but both games I've seen him play, he's bombed right up the top end of the field, and this time he did it. He left a massive hole behind him, and it was a simple 1-ball pass through basically 4 or 5 through from their defence through to release Sam Smith, who comes straight between the remaining defenders. I think it was Murato and Savona, who were both running back after him. And luckily, Sells takes command of the situation, comes out and blocks it. But that would have been a disaster to get it again just before half time.
Yeah, it would have. The more annoying thing is we had a free kick in their half, and I think it might have been Zinchenko. He literally just played it straight to their player when we were all lined up. We were ready for the set piece, and then obviously that means we don't have many players behind the ball. But once they make that passing behind and he's running, you think 3-0, the game's dead. But Matt Sells, he hasn't been great this season. He even lost the shirt to John. But last night he produced that save, and then he produced another save late on in extra time, and just shows why Sells needs to be be starting for us.
Yeah. I thought he overall he actually had a pretty decent game. He looked pretty commanding. But we rolled in 2-0 at half time.
The 1865 Match Report.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
So in the second half, things couldn't carry on like that. Sean Dyche made 3 substitutions. Morgan Gibbs-White, Nico Dominguez and Nico Williams coming on for McAtee, Backward and Zinchenko. I don't remember Backward doing much in the first half. Zinchenko wasn't really there either. And I want to talk a little bit about McAtee towards the end, at the end of this. But were you away and surprised to see those changes, or did you feel like hopeful this could get us back into it?
We weren't surprised. I think someone said in the group chat that Dyche was bringing on our 3 biggest fighters, and that was really clear when they came on. I think they're Gibbs-White, Dominguez, and Williams are the 3 players that always fight for the team, always show the most passion. So I think that also helped. But also the quality of Gibbs-White, that was so clear in the second half. We were a completely different side. Dominguez came on, did the hard yards, did the ugly work. And I also thought Nico came on and looked more defensively solid, and we looked more calm at the back when Williams came on as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, he must be exhausted. I think he's played every game now, hasn't he? We definitely looked better. There was a sort of like half shot from Igor Jesus, who, again, he does lots and lots of running without really getting the chances fall into him, and that's probably because we don't support him enough, I guess. But a half chance for him. Then Douglas Luiz puts in a free kick, which Arthur Okonkwo saves. I want to talk about him later as well. So it's like, again, we looked better, but we didn't really seem to be doing anything. And then almost, it felt to me almost out of nowhere that Igor Jesus sort of gets this header, which at first glance it was doubtful whether it crossed the line, but actually seeing it back, it went well over. And again, it's one of those where he's not the tallest, but he keeps on winning these headers that he has no right to.
Yeah, the goal, it did come out of nowhere. I mean, when the second half kicked off, we came out in those first 10 minutes and we looked so much better already. And then that goal came from a brilliant cross from Savona, actually. Put it in just where Jesus was. It didn't have a lot of power behind it. It was more like lofted in, but I still, like, Igor did well to get power behind it and get it over the line. But yeah, that goal fired us up a little bit more, and also made the away end have a bit more belief as well. So that's when more chanted started coming, and people were like, "Oh, we might come back here."
Yeah. And it was also just after that Callum Hudson-Odoi came on, which I completely missed the substitution for that. I was like, later on, I was like, where did he come from? But of course, things this season being what it is, it wasn't actually us that scored the next one. It was them with a free kick that was a stupid one to give away, as I remember. It was quite a long way out. It was very, very well delivered, but it probably passed over the heads of at least three Forest defenders who could have got up to clear it. And instead it falls to, who was it? It was Hyam, who gets a very good header, but he shouldn't have had the chance to get in it. It was undone by a set piece once again. You'd think Sean Dyche would have sorted this out by now. He's famous for it. Nuno's sorted it out last season. It's just like we've fallen to pieces on that front, haven't we?
Yeah, when we first came up to the Premier League, we had under Cooper we struggled to defend set pieces, and then Nuno came in and sorted it, and then under Ange, they were obviously that's like the main way we conceded under him. And you think bringing Dyche in that it'll improve, but I don't think it has improved. We've still conceded lots of set pieces, but the ball in is brilliant. But I think it does pass a lot of people, and it's a diving header. And I know Jesus isn't a defender and he's a striker, but he still lets Hyam get to the ball first, have the desire to get to the ball first, and that's when everyone just thought it was over.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Pretty much straight from the kickoff, Forest go back on the attack. It's not quite a Hudson-Odoi special, not his standard thing, because he's pretty much central when he receives the ball. I think it came in from Savona for this one, and then and he just places it sort of in the bottom corner. Okonkwo almost gets to it, but a very, very nice finish for that one. And 2 minutes after they'd scored, which I think if it had been that much longer, I think our heads would have dropped a little bit.
Yeah, it was late, but it wasn't too late, if that makes sense. It kind of, I think it might have been Hutchinson that put the cross in. He took his man on and he beat him, and then he put a ball in. It wasn't really a great ball. I think the Wrexham defenders maybe could have dealt with it at the front post, but Callum's there, Callum's alert, and he got us one back, and that gave us some confidence, because then we did go on to equalise, and we really put up a fight after that, I think.
Yeah. I think we at that point we started looking much better. Not just, I mean, it went a little bit end to end from there on, because they were hitting us on the break, and then we'd take it back up the other ends. I'm sure Dyche obviously thought, right, we need to calm this down by putting Taiwo on. Now, I really, really like Taiwo, but he's not having the best season. But arguably, he scares defenders just by his clumsy knocking about. And then just after that, absolutely magnificent goal from the second one from Callum, where the ball comes in over his shoulder, he chests it down, really, really good control to knock it in past Okonkwo. And it's at the 89th minute. Suddenly it's like, we've put ourselves back into this.
Yeah, the angle I had on the finish it looked such a good goal from my angle. We were all like, we know Callum's a special player, but that's got to be goal of the round, definitely. But Wrexham fans and their players will be thinking they can hold on to it, and then all of a sudden, like, the Premier League quality finally shines through and gets us back into it. And I wanted to go home. I was cold, but then I just stayed for extra half an hour to then lose on the worst way.
Well, extra time, the threat of penalties. There was actually, before Luis went off, there was another free kick from him which forced a save as well, wasn't there? But overall, until extra time, I can't really remember that much in the way of chances for either side, apart from the goals themselves. But then there was a bit where I think it was Hudson-Odoi got another shot off in extra time. There was a bit where right towards the end of extra time, there was Amari Hutchinson cutting in, and he puts the shot in straight at Okonkwo. It was a very, very tight angle, would have been something special. But again, there was lots and lots of running about and carrying the ball to the right areas without actually looking like either side was going to score, although they got a couple of chances as well that towards the end as well. Did you feel like we were in the ascendancy in extra time, or did you think, oh, this is going for penalties then?
To be honest, I thought we knocked on the door quite a bit in extra time, and I thought we was going to win it because our subs were arguably better, more freshness, more quality. So I thought we can really take the game to them in extra time. They were there for the taking, and we did create a few chances, but you need good chances to score a goal, and I think they were either tame shots or they were really far wide. So yeah, and then they had one shot that I can remember from a Morato mistake, which was quite a common theme last night. And then once again, Matt Sells coming to the rescue, making himself big to save the shot.
Oh yeah, there was I think it was Josh Windass who is for the older people like me will remember his dad, Dean Windass, as well. He used to play for Bradford and a few places and Hull. But anyway, yeah, so it goes through, it's 3-3 at the end of extra time. Go through to penalties. I'm sat there thinking, well, we did it 3 times last season, but you never really want penalties. It's a bit of it is a lottery, really, isn't it? Windass scores for them. Morgan scores for us. Takes it very, very well. Their penalty, they then miss the next one. And we're thinking we can step up here. And Igor Jesus, with penalties, I always think if you look at the player's face when they're running up to take it, you can tell whether they're going to score or not. And I knew Jesus wasn't going to score for that one. One apiece for the next lot. 2 apiece, and it was Callum and then Nico that took the next 2, both of them scoring. Then Jay Rodriguez gets one. I vaguely remember him as one of those players who scores against us a lot, but then when we weren't in the Premier League, there were lots of players who scored against us a lot. And then finally, it gets through to the last penalty, which is Amari Hutchinson. I put in the group chat, that's a lot of pressure for a 12-year-old because he does look like he's 12. But again, you look at his face and you think he's not going to score this one. And Okonkwo read it perfectly and jumps to the right side. He placed it well, but he makes a save. So Okonkwo's a hero for Wrexham. Hollywood's the winner. How did it feel in the stands after that to lose on penalties and then have a trip home?
Oh, ever since the Sheffield United playoff semi-final, I didn't watch any of those penalties. So I don't watch penalties. I didn't watch the West Ham one the other day. I don't watch them. I normally watch the opposition ones. So I was unsure what to do. But I can't watch our penalties because I just hate when our players miss. But I did watch theirs. And I thought the penalties that we scored were good penalties, but I thought all of their penalties were, apart from the one that was missed, they were all good. They were all either placed well or they had lots of power behind them, making it difficult for Sells. But once Amari misses, and penalties is luck, I don't think anyone was specifically annoyed about Jesus or Amari missing in that moment. I think it was just the whole anger of the game. A lot of people were supporting, clapping, cheering the players, and there was a few people booing and just really unhappy, which is understandable because they've made the trip. But in these moments, it's where we need to get behind the team and support the team, not try and drag them down even more when they're already feeling like disappointed in themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Forest out of the FA Cup for this year. No cup run for us. I suppose that means we can then concentrate on the league. and the Europa League, but that finished 3-3 in after extra time, 4-3 on penalties.
The 1865 match report.
In postseason football, you need to find that extra gear. On FanDuel, it's called Playoff Mode. Big boosts, more rewards, and a whole new way to live parlay with Drive SGP. Turn on Playoff Mode, only on FanDuel.
New customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
So, what was the feeling in the stands then throughout the game? Because obviously the first half was pretty dire. There was a bit of a fight back, well, a good fight back in the second half, and then, as you say, extra time, we were probably dominant. But I would say the story of the match is something that's pretty common for this season, which is lots and lots of getting the ball in the right areas without really looking dangerous. So how did it feel? What were the supporters saying, say at half time, at full time?
The first half was like a normal away game. People were chanting, and then people were singing. Everyone was like, they were pleased with more of what they were seeing, because like you said, we was getting the ball in the right areas, but we weren't being direct enough. So that was starting to annoy people. And then obviously they go and score 2 goals. They're the underdog. We should be the ones that are taking the game to them. So the tunnel was right by where the away end was. So the players are walking over and everyone's booing. People are swearing, shouting. That moment was really toxic. It was like stuff we were seeing under Ange. So that wasn't nice to see, because yes, we've conceded 2 soft goals, but football's football. It's the FA Cup. You never know what's going to happen. So we need to get behind the team. We need to cheer them on. And then the second half comes. We get the goal reasonably early on. And everyone's like back on side, which really confuses me about Forest fans. Like 10 minutes ago, they were shouting, and now they're singing. Doesn't make sense. And that carried on, and then as they score their third, it gets a bit hostile again. But then we come back, and everyone's happy. And then I think through extra time and through penalties, everyone was still okay. There was still singing going on. And then, like I said, at full time, people were annoyed, but there was just a few people giving it. But the main thing was at half time, when the players were walking over. And I forgot, at full time, Murillo was the last Forest player off the pitch. And someone must have said something to Murillo, because he was really confused and he started shouting back at the supporters and like raising his arms in confusion. So someone must have said something to Murillo as well that got him annoyed.
Oh, that's interesting, because there was a couple of games ago, I noticed one of the things I like about the team since Steve Cooper was in charge was the fact that the players always come out and applaud the fans, which is something that's not always happened at Forest. And Murillo's obviously one of those who does that a lot. But there was a game a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember which one it was, maybe one of the Everton games, where he went straight down the tunnel without looking at the players. And I was thinking, does that mean he's off in January? But yeah, that's interesting as well. If people are having a go at him, out of, as you said about the subs is like, they are our fighters. Murillo's one of our fighters. He'll always give everything for us. So there's one player I love, and we shouldn't be having a go at him, I think. What about after the game? Yes, I presume the players did do the applauding the fans thing.
Yeah, they did.
Dyche does it as well, but he does it quite quickly and then goes off to handle his media duties. Was there any reaction towards Sean Dyche?
Not really. Because obviously the tunnel was right where the away end was. They didn't really stand there and clap. They were kind of clapping on their way towards the tunnel, if that makes sense. So I think most people were just clapping him. Like I said, there was a few people shouting, "You're getting sacked." Just silly comments that don't really need to be made.
And then, speaking of comments afterwards, Sean Dyche's interviews media round, he says there are some players that are asking why they're not getting game time, and then this is their answer: they're not going to get any game time after that. I'm particularly looking at James McAtee. He's one of those players I was quite excited when we signed him, but yeah, both their first goals, he looked to me like he was in a position to be able to stick a foot in and at least make it difficult for them, but he was just so slow to react. And I know he was playing out of position, but then he does have a reputation being able to play central midfield, so it's part of your duty there to be able to defend. And I've defended him before by saying we're so used to Morgan being all action, but he's a different type of player. But I think, yeah, from Sean Dyche's point of view, that sort of inability, slowness to react when defending is going to be inexcusable, isn't it?
Yeah, especially for Dyche. I thought that McAtee playing in a deeper role would allow him to get on the ball more, but which he did. He was on the ball more, but he didn't really do a lot when he had it. And he's the guy that you think is going to create things if he's who you want to eventually replace Morgan when Morgan moves on. So yeah, I hope McAtee comes good, because everyone was really excited when we signed him, and we do know there's a player in there. I just think we're still really waiting to see that, and hopefully we do see that soon.
And obviously the other substitutions, Zinchenko and Bakwa, it's become a running joke. Bakwa's come on and done nothing in our group chat. And Zinchenko, I'd feel so much happier if we just played him in midfield, because then he'd have to play as a number 10, because we can't rely on him defending. We've got Morgan who can defend and play there as well. It's how was Dan and Doy, the reaction to him coming back, because obviously he's had his critics as well in recent months.
Yeah, I thought N'Doye in the first half, he didn't really do a lot. He was getting doubled up on, to be fair to him, and it's always difficult when you're doubled up on, because you don't really have many options. You can't really take the man on, but sometimes he was isolated one-on-one and he just chose not to really take his man on, which I don't understand. You're playing a championship club and you're a Premier League winger. You should be beating your man. I didn't really think he got back to really do defensive duties either. I don't really think the work rate was there from him either. I think he looked better in the second half when he had more quality on the pitch surrounding him, but once again he didn't really do much.
Yeah, so that's kind of the story of the entire season, really. So we'll leave it there. Actually, no, before we go, so who would you have put as your player of the match out of that sorry display?
I'd say Morgan Gibbs-White, because the first half wasn't a great watch, and then Morgan comes on in the second half and immediately we look a completely different side. He was picking up space. He was doing some flicks that were actually working. He completely changed that game for us, I think.
Excellent. Yeah, I agree as well. Yeah, he doesn't get to do the fancy number 10 stuff that much anymore, but yeah, as you say, he's a fighter. He's the one that gives us our drive and energy. And yeah, he's an absolutely key player for us. So we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Katie, for standing out in the cold in North Wales. And thank you for listening. We'll be back. It's a little while now till our next game. We'll thankfully get some minutes on the training ground with Sean Dyche, hopefully for the players. But yeah, we'll be back with our match reports as normal and Yates' espresso bar during the week. So thank you very much, and come on, you Reds.
You've been listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps other listeners find our content.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Fall is all about cozy comforts, but when you're prioritizing your health, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. With Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your fall favorites because they're made with Hero Bread sliced bread loaves, tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls, and more. Try their all-new Hero Noodles with 12 grams of protein and just 80 calories. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. They've even got small batch drops of indulgent favorites like the popular Hero Croissant. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.